Hey guys, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
We are the Anthony and Todd Show. Today we're taking a look at Santigold's latest project, I Don't Want, the Goldfire Sessions.
She
the
doesn't
Jeff
want
session.
She doesn't want the gold fire sessions.
Well, I mean,
just get rid of these sessions.
She doesn't want them. Then
I don't want to record today.
Santigold, formerly known as Santigold, which I assume is pronounced the same exact way, is an American singer and producer, most well known for her tracks creator, Les Artistes, and of course Disparate Youth. I think that was in the Black Panther soundtrack.
It's also
maybe.
on Year of the Worst.
There's also on all sorts of other stuff, and it's super catchy and good. She got 3 albums under her belt and has collaborated with everyone under the sun in the music industry, including but not limited to Matt and Kim, Pharrell Williams, A$AP Mob, Julian Casablancas, Karen O, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, just Kanye, Jay-Z. She was on the Biggie Smalls biopic. I mean, literally been everywhere. I don't understand that. And this latest project, I Don't Want, is a dancehall inspired mixtape / album that was announced as a huge surprise and just kind of dropped like last Friday.
And it's she described it as a very spontaneous and quick release. It's basically a bunch of sessions of her recording with Dre Skull, and you mentioned it is a dancehall album, which going into this I was very wary of because I'm not a huge fan of reggae, not a huge fan of dancehall, and I also think dancehall has too much like almost a grip on like the modern sound now, because with artists of Major Lazer and Drape kind of incorporating dancehall into like hip hop and EDM, it just becomes like so saturated, that market. And I just find
what Migos did to the trap market. It's just oversaturated pop music, really.
And I think that market, even alone without those artists, is already saturated with a lot of the same sounds, and I find a lot of reggae and dancehall to be really repetitive in the content that it produces. So I wasn't too interested going into this, but I wanted to check it out. And in all honesty, I think there's some good moments on here, and I think she tries her best to make this work, but it just doesn't. It seems like a lot of almost B-sides, in a sense that even the best moments seem like they need more. Like, I enjoy the moments Coo, Run the Road, Valley of the Dolls, Why Me, Crashing Your Party, but like none of these feel like fully fledged out. And since it is dancehall, there's a lot of repetitiveness in the production, and there's some moments where it just becomes so mind-numbingly top 40 that Santigold basically does not matter on the top of the beat.
Yeah.
Because the production's so bland, she seems bland because the production's so boring, and lyricism is really cheesy. Lyricism on this album is just sometimes really not finished, it feels like. It feels like placeholder lyrics, and like some of the ideas she explored, she described this album as more as a political album, or on the verge of a lot of these political problems that we're having currently. And none of this feels unique whatsoever. Like, she doesn't fully explore ideas, and sometimes she explores ideas so like lacklusterly that it just becomes like margold nonsense, that it is just like top 40 canon, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I think this is an album I can see actually doing pretty good for her, because it doesn't take that many, like, I think the initial risk of being a dancehall album's there, but I don't think there's too many risks past that. I think she plays it safe a majority through this. I think this was her getting together with Dre Skull and a couple other producers, and
Diplo was there.
Diplo was in the session. Surprisingly, he makes one of the better moments in the album, which I don't understand how.
Yeah.
But getting together, making music that inspired her from when she was young, listening to dancehall and reggae, and having fun. But I don't see this as being an impactful album. I see it as being like interesting B-sides some of the time, and sometimes just being just like worthless and just like not needed in this type of climate of just hearing this style of music being done over and over again. Mm-hmm. She doesn't really do anything interesting with the sound, and I think sometimes she fits over it well. Like, her voice complements that kind of like her kind of like nasally, I think you called it almost like sick voice. I was like, she
doesn't normally sound like that, but like this time I got into this project and I was like, is her nose stuffed up, like bad allergies or something? It literally sounds like her trying to talk with like I have a stuffed up nose right now, and it's like just very dry almost. Like, I can't pronounce everything correctly because I've got this a lot of like pressure up here, and that's like exactly what it sounds like. Is when she gets to like these higher notes, she's singing like this, like oh my god.
This is basically very spontaneous and very quick. That's all I can describe it as. It's only 32 minutes. It transitions very well. I can see why she called it an album in the style of a mixtape, because a lot of the traditions flows really
incredibly well. Sometimes a little too well.
Yeah.
Tracks like What You Feel Like and I Don't Want, like I didn't even know it changed tracks. It's the exact same beat, exact same rhythm. I was just like, what is going, why, what's the point?
Yeah. But going into some of the content, I enjoyed the track Coo Coo Coo. I think it's actually one of the better moments on here.
Yeah.
I think her very light, high-pitched vocals on the hook are really significant and just make this really catchy moment that's kind of unforgettable. Super playful. Her verses I find to be very smooth, comparative to her hooks. And then like the electronic drums are nice, but I don't care for like the synth. I can't tell if it's a synth or like a steel drum going off, but it's just ugly. It's just kind of annoying and almost too present on the track. It transitions to the next track super well. Run the Road, way more enjoyable production. It's more of her traditional sound that she's going for. Very catchy, bleeds better, everything blends better, and it seems like a more traditional moment, but it's like one of those moments on here where it's nice, but I don't think it means anything. Like there's nothing.
No.
Like I could have heard this from other projects. Like she doesn't do really anything interesting with it. It's just nice to hear it, I guess. What You Feel just has this ugly bass and snare, and it's just like annoying. Really screechy hat in the back. It meshes well with the synth, but like it just like doesn't mean anything else. It clashes with the rest of the production. It clashes with Santigold. She's talking about gender and her talking to with a guy that thinks he knows what woman wants and he thinks he's like superior to him, which is a nice it's a nice theme, but she doesn't really delve any more into it. Like it seems very flat in her approach, which I don't know. I think she could have done more with it.
I think that's just kind of a theme for the entire album, is that she could have done more with it. Because, like, right now, all I've seen this album as is, hey, in typical, like, Santigold fashion, hey, dancehall is popular, I can do it better than them. And she goes out and puts this album, and, like, I will admit, there are a lot of, like, dancehall tracks that this is, like, on here that are superior to the majority of stuff being put out now in like the pop mainstream. Like I found a lot of these tracks to be like more enjoyable than them, but also like the whole dancehall style has completely overstayed its welcome and is getting boring. And now Santigold might say like I can do it better than them, but it doesn't mean that it's good.
Yeah.
Just because you do something better than somebody else doesn't mean that either of the acts are still like good art in and of themselves. There are moments on here that are good. Coo Coo Coo, Run the Road, Crashing Your Party, A Perfect Life, which reminds me a lot of Kero Kero Bonito.
Yeah.
But
Valley of Dolls with Diplo, King Henry, and Dre Skull, I find to be like a nice moment where it blends so many scenes together, and I feel it works. There's like this nice back horn like synth, which I think is great. Very swirly synth on the hook, has nice basic drum work. Doesn't like nothing too about it's too like distracting with its production, and Santigold fits so well over it. Like it combines dancehall and pop together in something that's very like the production's very like flat, but in a good way. Like it doesn't like take too much presence up and like take away from Santigold.
But like there comes a point where I'm just like, this is getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
Don't Blame Me is literally Santigold is Sean Paul on that one Sia song. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Literally just the female version of Sean Paul, and I was like, this is getting crazy. Like next we're just gonna move to Jamaica.
I Don't Want is just top 40 nonsense with her high pitched vocals.
Yeah.
Are just like too high, like just too high. Like I can't even explain it. Just listen
like
to
that
it.
one,
It's just like
Camila Cabello track.
it's just like too high. Like you are already high. Like we don't need you to be pitched more because
Yeah.
it's just like go away. Like I just find you to be like disgusting. The production's bland.
Also, blow your nose.
She needs to blow her nose on this record. I find moments like Perfect Life and Why Me to be interesting, but like I think she could have done more with this. And there's no reason why this album really needs to exist. It just does.
I
And
think she should have made either like continued to do collaborations like she has been doing, or just like made a whole new album. Because like her last albums I find to be really enjoyable because they have just like one concept that Santigold gets to dive into wholly alone, and I enjoy that because like she creates everything from the ground up, and that is her project. But right now I feel like she's delving into this pop style that's like completely unnecessary, and like, yeah, you might come in here to prove your worth in this style and just like remind everybody, hey, like Santigold's still alive, but it's also just like nonsensical. Like there's absolutely no point to doing so because anybody that knows Santigold knows that she should be making better albums than this, and anybody that doesn't know Santigold and goes to listen to this would just say like, hey, this is a fun pop track,
Yeah.
and that's it. The weight of this album is not going to be long lasting. This isn't going to be in the top 40. It's also not going to go down in Santigold's discography well. So like,
what's the point
what
of
was
it?
the point of making it?
Yeah, I just think this is a very like nothing release that I give it to her. It's very spontaneous, very quick, but like there's so much more she could have done with it.
Yes.
And the fact that she's going to continue, she mentioned in an interview that she's going to continue making albums this way. I'm not really excited in that format.
No, because I mean, her last couple albums were really interesting.
Yeah, like 99 Cent, I really enjoyed.
99 Cents was cool.
But like 99 Cent seemed like it just like blended so many genres together too, whereas this just seems like dancehall and pop.
And
Which is
that's,
just
like,
which is just
obnoxious
pop
to
at
me
this
because
point.
I don't know like what she's going to cover next, which I guess could be exciting, but to me it's very worrisome. It's like having a monster on the loose somewhere and not knowing what it's going to do next, except for Santigold just making crappy music.
Yeah, Santigold is like one of the most notable female artists currently in this like kind of weird like R&B pop sphere, I guess.
I think she's like the new Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
That's the way I think of her.
Kind of like, but like I think she's like one of the most notable ones. With this, I just like I don't understand why.
It just shows her as like almost fickle, almost just kind of changing with the times, changing with the trends.
Yeah.
And I know that Santigold is not that kind of person, is not that kind of artist, so it just like baffles me why this was even made.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 2 Drakes and Wheelchair Drake from Degrassi out of 10.
But until next time, guys, I've been Vincent.
I'm Trevor.
See you, boys.
Bye, everybody.